Ugh, it's Monday. I know we missed last week. We have a lot to get to this week. I know a lot of stuff we were supposed to cover before. We missed out on it. We're going to cover today. Someone's going to cut a promo. Hopefully it's going to be a legendary promo. It needs to be a legendary promo. And even Jarrett may end up joining us in this little this carnival of buffoonery shot. And I want to start off with something, though, something that I'm seeing. And I spoke about this in the DMs and with our production thread. And I want to bring it out here today because it's something that's a little concerning to me. And it's something that I've been seeing, especially this past weekend. I missed the what is it? At the Death, Salty Takeaways, whatever the running.
Could you guys come up with a name, man?
We don't need to. Okay,
fair enough.
We don't need to. We don't. If you speak it, they will come. I suppose. I don't know.
It's the post game show.
The post game show.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to me that, and I know it's the world of social media. But it just seems to me that nowadays, if you disagree with anyone, it's almost like the movie There Will Be Blood. It's like, you are now my competitor. Like that's really what it is now. Like it's this adversarial relationship that people seem to be developing, and it's just mind-bending to me where we were at the beginning of from 2017 to now, and I don't know, maybe it's that the listenership is elements of it rather have grown a little more intelligent about soccer. Some new fans that have jumped in, and now they have they've advanced their learning, and so now they're feeling their way around the banter and whatnot. And then we have some people who are kind of walling off their own little corners over here, and then we're over here, and they're over here, and it seems that everyone's got their guns aimed at each other. And it's okay to disagree. We're all going to disagree. Just Google anything involving Argentine soccer and the tactical differences there within Argentine soccer and Menotti and all the rest of them. Guys, it's okay. We can disagree about soccer and tactics and how we think we need to do things, and but the adversarial relationship is just mind-bending to me, and I'm just that out. I don't have a solution for it because it's social media and it's inherently set up to drive that out of people and to pull that out of people. But I just think that it's something that we need to start paying attention to a bit. And I saw a lot of this even at the home games for Atlanta United, where it seemed like everybody was like, the fuses were about that short with people because we've been locked up for so long. I think now everybody's just like, we're out and, we're like, oh my God! Ah! And it's even hard to put into words. It just seems like everybody was ready to bump heads at the slightest drop. We're out in the wild, ladies and gentlemen. I know it's been a minute, but let's try to be a little kinder to each other. That's all I'm gonna say. And no, we did not miss Salty Takeaways because of or any other shows in the past because of game results, as someone out there who will not be named has suggested. That's absolute buffoonery. The reason why I have missed out on the past couple of shows, I'll just state myself, is because, one, I'm a dad of 2 children, and we're getting closer and closer and closer to summer, which means the kids get wilder and wilder and wilder the closer you get to the last day of school. Not to mention, I do a vast majority of the cooking at my house, which means that if I'm not cooking, we ain't eating. So these people like to eat over here. And so I have to do some things like cooking and other parental responsibilities and things like that. So if I don't join a show, please understand that there is a pretty darn good reason for it. And I promise you, game results ain't one of them. So with that, I would like to jump into one Mr. Jose Mourinho taking over at Roma, because I think I'm due my official take on this one. I've had people saying, is this the death sentence for Roma? Is this the, what does this mean? What happened to Sarri? every outlet was reporting Sarri to Roma, and that it was almost done, and that everything had lined up. And then Roma pulls the Mourinho rabbit out of the hat and says, "Ha ha ha! We got you all." And everyone was shocked. I mean, David Omayala was shocked, and he's pretty much in tune with all of them. Di Marzio, everyone. The only hint looking back that I saw of any of this, and this is, again, looking back, hindsight 2020, all that fun stuff, because I sure as hell did not see this coming. The only hint that I saw was Jose saying, "I am now open to coaching other teams in Italy outside of Inter," which he had previously said he would not do. And so Jose had said this, and that's the only hint looking back that I saw. I think it's a statement of intent from Roma that, hey, we are gearing ourselves up for a higher level of competition. I don't think it's terribly different than what Spurs was attempting to do. Both teams are very similar in the fact that trophy case is tumbleweed, jackrabbit. So yeah, there's not a lot going on in those trophy cases. However, I would say that I think the way that Jose sets his teams up, I think he has a little bit better chance of being successful at Roma than he did at Spurs. However, I am firmly in the belief that he should have just taken a couple of years off, gotten away, maybe watched some video, looked at his tactical setup and how it related to the modern game, which I know is hilarious to say, but we had. I said the same thing about Frank de Boer, and I said the same thing about Jose Mourinho, and I know that mentioning those two guys in the same sentence automatically means you're going to start getting gifts in the timeline of, he has scored 0 times in the Premier League. I understand that that's coming. However, I think the one common thread between the two of them is that they both should have stepped away for, I think, a year or so, gotten themselves together, and then come back and done different things. So, with that said, I don't like this necessarily for Roma. I think they would have been far better off with somebody like Sarri. I think that had they made a couple of calls to South American clubs, which apparently they did, and had those calls been received, in a slightly different manner, then I think that probably would have been the better option. But I understand the move, even if I don't agree with it. I understand it. I disagree with it. It is what it is. I wish them the best of luck in whatever, as he brings his game to the Circus Maximus. We'll see how that works out. With that, gentlemen, I open the floor.
You're not going to jump to Roma now after this move?
No, I'm not going to jump to Roma after this.
You were thinking about it for a minute there.
God, they're going to push the social media so hard in your face.
Oh, yeah.
They are. No, they are. And look, it's a genius move from that standpoint.
Have you seen this man? And it's a picture of Jose Mourinho, and that's
right.
That'll be the next one.
Right. Look, I have the Roma English account follows me on Twitter. They have made many overtures to try to get me over to their side. I feel like I'm Clark Griswold driving the station wagon, and here comes the convertible.
You're in the Wagon Queen family truckster, and Roma's Christy Brinkley in the Ferrari.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. I'm just saying. They've made it tough. But two things that have gone against them recently. Apparently, they are moving to New Balance, which is like, why in God's name? After the absolute electric heat that Nike has dropped for you time and time again. That blue third kit that they had, I was this close to pulling the trigger on it. In fact, I have one for the Duchess. I'll put it to you that way. But between New Balance and Jose, I cannot get on board with it. I'm sorry. I just can't. No, you can't go to New Balance. Look at what New Balance did for Liverpool. Those kits were a disaster. It's like, can we get any of the Nike guys over here to do this? No, we can't. Can we get Adidas kind of does boring stuff, but what about the Icarus? Can we get the Icarus people? No, we're not getting the Icarus people. Okay, so what about Stevie from Spalding Middle School. Can we get Stevie from East Spalding Middle School? Sure can. And that's exactly what they did. They put some Volt green and some khaki together. That's going to be a great looking kid.
Ugh. Awful.
It's a disaster.
Hey, Jarrett, you got them all fired up.
You're welcome. You are welcome. My job here is done. I can leave, actually. Good night, y'all.
See you later. No, but I do wish that Roma would have just gone with Icarus. I have yet to see anything from Icarus that looks bad. All their stuff looks amazing. It's out there. It's like the avant-garde of kit design. And instead they went with New Balance. Ugh. Yeah, the money. You're right. It's the money. It's all about the money.
All about the Benjamins.
And don't forget that Deion Sanders, in his prime time, they cut an album. I believe the title track was "Must Be." It was terrible.
It was awful.
It was absolutely horrendous. And yes, it must be the money.
Roma has a response to your thoughts about their new kit deal.
Good.
Tell them to bring me my money. Yeah.
Not wrong.
Yeah. No, it's 100% correct. I just don't know how you look at what Nike has done for you, what they're doing for Venezia, what they're doing for a lot of other teams. Even Inter is dropping the stripes, which I think is a little sketchy, and then doing like snake print, which is kind of bad. It's a little badass. I've got to say it's a little badass. But I don't know. Puma did the. Now here's the thing. Puma lost a lot of street cred with me when they with the new kits that look like training shirts. It's like a white with like the country color right across. And it just says like Italia.
Yeah.
Polska. Like Belgium.
That's imagination.
Oh, no, it's garbage. They lost so much street cred with that. Especially after dropping the insane Renaissance kits for Italy, which are just beautiful. They're absolutely beautiful. And I'm glad that they did it, actually, because this means I can get all the Renaissance kits on sale now.
Oh, there you go.
I'm a bargain shopper.
Right there with you, brother. Go to TJ Maxx and get all those kits.
Absolutely.
Hey, I know something else you'll be able to get at TJ Maxx.
Oh, hit me up.
Columbus Crew gear.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
so
God.
proud there. I'm so proud of you. Good transitions. I'm so proud of this.
I've learned
job,
a few
everybody.
things.
I have thoughts on it, but my son listens to this, so I can't use the description that I used earlier.
Don't do that.
Let's see. Well, it's
No, John, no. Be careful.
No.
I'm just saying that it's something that you put on the curb and it gets picked up once a week.
No,
I don't think that's
trash,
what Nick was
going. It
going
can be trash.
on.
That's fine. No,
I don't think that was it.
No, I know it wasn't it. I was trying to G-ify it.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you there. But look, you had one of the best looking crests in soccer. I think the checkerboard, the yellow and black checkerboard thing, it was unique.
Yeah.
It was gorgeous. Your kits could use a little bit of work every now and then, but when you put it together, it was popping. And you change it to that corporate disaster zone, it was like it's like the first 22 minutes of the Chernobyl meltdown is what it's going to now. I don't know what focus group they got to do this, but I guarantee you the designer's like, hey, I've never watched soccer live. Let's tune into Twitter and see what they're saying about my design. And everything just stopped. Like the record scratches, like the saloon doors slam shut. New York City, like whatever record drop sound, mic drop sound you want to use, it happened. Because if you go to the Twitter comments, it is amazing.
That
fatality.
Finish. That was so bad.
Oh my God.
And then you have in the media, I think it was Tim Bezbachenko publicly saying that, no, we're not changing anything.
Right.
And then local sports anchor legend Dom Taberi has, I think, Dr. Edwards on, for a long one-on-one, and Dr. Edwards goes down the complete and total rabbit hole and does the 5-paragraph essay on what they're changing and why.
That's my problem with it.
Yeah.
It's one thing if you launch a team like Austin FC. Okay, that's where you're going from the jump. Okay, you're creating some things around that name. Okay, that's fine. I don't have a problem with it. Could you have went more adventurous? This is something that's changed over the years in American soccer. I can tell you from my history in it, there was a time frame where, I mean, look at the early MLS teams. You know, you had the Tampa Bay Mutiny, which was not talking about a mutiny with pirates. It actually referred to mutant bats, which is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life. But that was a team name. That was a team name. You had the San Jose Clash. Okay. I mean, I've talked about it. The Atlanta Ruckus. What is a ruckus player? A rucker? A clasher? Yes. You know, a mutineer, except it's a mutant bat. So, I mean, I don't know what that means. You've had some really dumb team names along that side. You still have the New England Revolution. You still, for now, have the Columbus Crew. All right, then there was a pushback. Like, these names are stupid. These names are Americanized. They're dumb. We need traditional names.
Right.
And you saw a bunch of teams go down that road. Okay. Then it was like, well, wait a minute, now it's too many teams doing that. Now we want different kinds of names. The thing, if you're going to rebrand at this point, Chicago went through it, Louisville went through it. I don't know if you can, in American soccer, with the amount of vitriol that can get stirred up in, you know, a moment's notice, I don't know if you can truly rebrand without this kind of nonsense. One way you might be able to is actually have your story straight. And that's the biggest issue with Columbus is, are they the Crew or are they not the Crew, or are they like kind of the Crew but not officially? Is it like the Gunners of Arsenal?
They're trying to have their cake and eat it too.
And you can't do that. Like that makes it even worse. Chicago Fire, all right, you had a bad rebrand, a bad logo. You didn't need to go to all that. Awful. Okay, but at least I know what the team's called. Like, now it's just, and the Crew have done this before. When they went through their rebrand initially with the logo that I'm not as big of a fan of as Nick was. I think the middle of it is too busy. There's just too much stuff. I would have liked just the checkerboard throughout the middle. Cool. It was, for a while, they had to be the Crew SC. If you were referring to them officially, they would tell you, no, it's not the Crew, it's the Crew SC. I'm like, that's idiotic. Like, that's not how you talk. Like, nobody uses those terms at the end.
No.
Unless...
Only marketing brands.
Yeah. Unless it is
Marketing.
FC Dallas, or Toronto FC, or Columbus SC now, or Columbus Soccer Club, or whatever.
Right.
You didn't need to do this, just like Montreal didn't need to do what they did with Club de Foot, Montreal. You could have done a new logo. You could have dropped this logo out there. Okay. You could have tweaked whatever you wanted to tweak. Okay. And not change the name. You didn't need to drop Crew from Columbus Crew SC and make it Columbus SC.
Right.
You didn't. There's no value.
Well, the one thing I am willing to put forward, and I wish that if this was the case, they would have just said it. I do wonder if there was anything within the sale of the team that said you can use this particular name and branding for a certain period of time, and after that, you got to come up with your own.
I seriously doubt it, because the name and brand would be MLS's. I mean, pre-court had nothing to do with creating it. It's way back. It could have been worse. They could have went to the throwbacks, and I'll throw an old Columbus logo up for you guys on Twitch really fast, because it is horrendous.
The old one before the construction workers?
No, the team beforehand, before in the USISL, the Columbus Zogs. It was awful. First off, Zogs. Xoggz. Yeah, Nick, that's exactly the reaction.
Okay.
Yeah, it's awful.
I'm just tired of focus groups. I'm really tired of the focus groups. And I know that every business does this now, right? Where we marketing and branding firm to assist us with our corporate strategy going forward. You hear it, and for all of us out there who are in corporate America, we hear this like every year. Anytime a new like marketing manager steps in, that they, we did focus groups and what this mean and what for soccer. Look, I get it. If you were a Fortune 1000 brand and you need a focus group to figure out how to speak to the masses, that across many demos, that's great. Understand that. But if you're a sports team, your fan base needs to have a say in this because they're the ones who you are expecting to buy your crap. And if you don't want a warehouse full of gear,
is the hardest fan base to get an accurate focus group on an American soccer fan base?
I would think so.
I think it's a lot harder than NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball. I think it's such a difficult fan base to corral and get all on board with one thing in a rebrand situation. Like I'm with Burned. Racing Louisville, I think, is a great name, great brand.
Right. But
very cool.
We'll use the Washington football team as a prime example.
Yep.
So they had a terrible name, a disastrous name. Not even going to mention it. And they said, okay, we're getting away from it. We're gonna finally ditch the name. We're gonna, for the time being, just be called the Washington football team. And they kept the colors identical. They kept everything else identical, and they dropped the racist mascot and the racist name. And people were, yeah. But you know what? A lot of the stuff looks super clean now. Mm-hmm. It looks really good. I mean, I'm not a fan of that team, but it's gear that if I was like, Rob Lowe with the NFL hat, I might be just like, hey, you know what? I think I may snag some of that gear. It looks really nice, the color scheme. There's nothing about this rebrand that looks good. There's nothing about it that looks good
It's not different enough. Like, that's the thing. I mean, if you're going to rebrand, like, rebrand. If you're just going to tweak and keep the same colors and basically everything else, then why are you changing the name? Like, it doesn't matter. I mean, like, okay, Gotham FC, and a lot of people have had opinions about that. I think generally a lot of people have liked it.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not the biggest fan of it, to be honest. It feels a little forced. I mean, it's okay. It's better, but again, you're talking about where it comes from. Sky Blue FC wasn't exactly the greatest brand either, and it needed something to be overdone or overhauled. So this is what you have. It's an upgrade. I don't love it. It's pretty blah to me, but it's better than what they had. Anything was better than the former Washington NFL team's name, so that's an upgrade. This is not an upgrade. Montreal, the logo was an upgrade. I love the crest for Montreal. That's actually really different.
You like the butthole snowflake?
Yes, because I don't ever see it that way like everybody else is trying to make a story of. But this is the hard thing about rebranding, especially in American soccer. What do people want? Because do they want Euro-style names, or do they not? Because I've seen people shift over the years, and now it feels like whatever you do, it's going to blow up. It's really tough. I don't know why Columbus needed to do this, to be honest, because they were fine. Could they have tweaked some things? Sure. I really hope the New England Revolution don't, because their logo has history.
Thing now.
It is a thing.
It's a thing now. Yeah.
The LA Galaxy, and Dawn asked, should the LA Galaxy change their name?
No.
I think it has name value. I don't think you need to do it. I didn't love their rebrand, and I don't like their logo. I think it's the worst of the crests. I would change that. I didn't like the rebrand when Beckham came in from the green and yellow kind of days to the current logo. I think that was an attempt to sell a bunch of stuff. I'm sure it worked, but it was bland. And I think it looks outdated now.
Right. But the logo that the crew are using now, and it's just like Ohio State. I refuse to ever call them the Ohio State. I think that's the dumbest thing in college sports. It looks to me like what Columbus is trying to do with their focus group is they tried to have a retro-style badge, not like the circle ones that it needed to be unique and needed to be a callback to the 90s. So it looks like almost like a 90s MLS badge. And then that's not enough because they have to have the name, whatever. And they changed the name thing too. So they have a traditional name with a throwback crest. And they're going into this unbelievably amazing looking stadium. Mm-hmm. And you have officially pissed off what appears to be a massive amount of your fan base in the process. Just pitch the stadium. That's it. Pitch the stupid stadium you spend a fortune on and just say, hey guys, we're doing all black kit. Just do the all black kit with the checkerboard look and say, look, we're coming into our new house. It's ours. You can drop the AC/DC back in black, whatever you want to do. There are ways to put a whole marketing campaign around like one kit, or maybe you go all white and it's the callback to the when Columbus has played host to the U.S. Mexico and it was snowing like crazy, and it's the all white kit to honor that or whatever. There are 500 different ways to do this without going like, hey, here's this big burning brown bag of dog crap that we found on the front step. We're going to go ahead and serve this up as our brand. Good luck.
I mean, when they're having to explain it to me where the C looks like, and you have fans saying the C looks like a G and it's in the shape of the Ohio State flag. If I'm having to think about something that I'm looking at, I'm already out the door.
Right.
I mean, and I think you hit on it, Nick. I think that if you did the as you're heading into the downtown stadium, if you just did the back in black kit and did it that way, I think that you really could make an impact as long as you keep flying J off the front. But I mean, it's just, there are ways to do it, and what has happened in Columbus was not the way to do it. This should go into every marketing class in college as to how not to. It should go into that file as to how not to launch a new brand.
Right, and who are the focus groups? Tell me who the focus groups were. The focus group who put together and the marketing firm, who I'm sure all of the above are very happy to cash their checks and are very quickly putting Alan Smithy. For those who don't know the Alan Smithy reference, if there was a director in Hollywood who made a movie and the studio edited the living crap out of it and completely changed the tone, the vision, and the director was so infuriated they didn't want to be associated with it, they would say, you have to take my name off of it and put Alan Smithy in the place. And that was a way for movie heads to know this is not the director's vision. You saw this with one of the original cuts of Dune, where David Lynch said, this is not the movie I made. Take my name off and put Alan Smithy on instead. So that's probably what these firms are doing now, seeing this blowback. Like, I just told them Alan Smithy Incorporated developed this entire plan. I want to know who was behind the ridiculous Chicago Fire rebrand, because that badge was incredible and they got rid of it and put on the stalactites and stalagmites on the front of a flipping jersey. And then the Columbus Crew toxic waste dump that they just dumped out there today and tried to tweet their way through, which is never a wise strategy. Ooh, no. I'm telling you, I'm creating a consultancy firm for these soccer teams to call me up and be like, hi, Nick, we're looking to go from this to this.
No.
And no, you're not doing that. And then you're not tweeting your way through it. Well, a study suggests, I don't care what your study suggests. It's a bad move. Because at the end of the day, the season ticket holders are the ones who are going to be asked to go and purchase this. There's a reason why Atlanta United is getting a third kit, because Atlanta United fans are cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs on every jersey that gets dropped out there, and they go and buy them in bunches. So, yes, they get a third kit. They put 75,000 people in the stadium, non-COVID. And, we've earned it. I think if I'm Ross and Marshalls, I'm going to be like, especially in the greater Ohio area, I'm going to be like, boys, we better create 4 or 5 empty racks of all of this Toxic Avenger kit that's coming out. Put that stuff out there in the front.
Nick,
all right, what is the Twitch pitch saying?
A lot of stuff, talking about brands and talking about things. I want to get into this while you're fired up, because I think it's the perfect time to do this. This was from earlier today. Here we go. Right now.
Now, Juventus will be kicked out of Serie A if it doesn't withdraw from the European Super League. This is some breaking news for you. Remember, 3 clubs still haven't quite given up this idea of the European Super League. Real Madrid, Barcelona and Juventus. They've vowed to persevere with the idea, but Italian Football Federation President Gabriele Gravina has been saying today to a Naples radio station, he said the rules are clear. If Juventus is still part of the Super League when it enters next season, it can't participate in Serie A.
Your thoughts, Nick?
My thought is they're playing my jam. Play that song again. Play that song again.
Why are these idiots still holding on to the Super League thing? Why?
Won't you listen to me? There you go.
Oh my God! Look, this is why. Because Agnelli's an idiot. That's why. Because he possesses 2/10 of the brain cells that the entire rest of the Agnelli family, the avocado, for the guy who led years of lead, the guy who led the resurgence of fiat, who saved Italy from the communists, who built up the infrastructure of northern Italy, who caused one of the largest mass migrations in country anywhere in the world, thanks to fiat. If Gianni Agnelli was alive to watch this, and this is the man who every woman in the world watched his documentary on HBO. If you want to know what I'm talking about, Jackie O. If you want to anything at all, if you want to take anything away from it, Gianni Agnelli was a genius that could read a room better than anyone else alive, and the guy's name is escaping me at the moment. He was Kennedy's foreign minister, Secretary of State.
Pierre Salinger?
No, who's German guy?
Oh, I'll look it up.
Kissinger.
Henry Kissinger.
Henry Kissinger said, "I was afraid to think in front of Gianni Agnelli because I felt that he could read my thoughts. He was so good. If Andrea Agnelli possessed 1/10 of that, Juventus wouldn't even be in this mess. But he doesn't, because he's the moron child. He's the Fredo of the Agnelli family. I'm smart. I'm not what people think I am. Like dumb. Yeah, you
That
are.
ain't true.
Yeah, you're a bum. That's what you are. You're the bum of the Agnelli family, and your cousin John Elkann is the guy running the show from Exor headquarters. So before you do anything, let's go ahead and examine the buffoonery of this moron. One, they were the first ones to be talking about the Super League. They've been kicking around for a long time because they think that they were in prime position to leave the rest of Italy behind. Point blank, period. And they knew that they needed the Milan teams because Milan is the financial hub of Italy. They needed the Milan clubs to go with them because not just that, but also the Milan clubs are almost of equal branding in Juventus's eyes. And Juventus knew that if they left and they took them and maybe just threw in Roma, they threw a bone to Roma, that Serie A would have no choice but to capitulate. They would have no choice. And that fell apart. And so then they tried again. They kept it working. And then we came so close to Super League, we dropped the stupid branding announcement about it. And what happened? The entire civilized world said no. Like the Bugs Bunny meme? No. They did that. They dropped it. And yeah, there were a few people out there who said, I think this is a great idea. But, okay, well, guess what? UEFA said, if you come at the king, you best not miss. And you boys didn't just miss. You missed the whole flipping target. You took the target and said, we're just going to set this over here, and we're just going to just spray up into the air and hope we hit something. The fact that these morons are still holding on to this idea, like we're going to resurrect Super League. No, you're not. Because the other teams that were involved had to sign agreements with UEFA saying that if you left again, that you would have to pay something out, what was it, like 50, 100 million euro to get out? Come on. You think you're going to leave with that? Get out of here. You know why you're doing it? Because you're broke. You're broke. Broke. What you did is you walked into a restaurant. You walked into the finest restaurant in town. Name it. Whatever city you're in right now, think of the finest restaurant in town. And if it's like an Olive Garden or something, then think of another town and the finest restaurant in that town. And then you said, you know what, baby, we're going big tonight. We're going big because you're beautiful and I love you. And I'm trying to make this evening super special, right? We got the candles. We got Giuseppe over here. He's playing like a mandolin and he's singing like little songs and whatnot. And I'm ordering a filet mignon and we're going to Somalia. Yes. What is your finest wine? Bring forth the wine list. And what happens is that bill comes due at the end of the night, and the server who knows that you can't pay it comes up and goes, look.
We got some
I don't
dishes in
think
the
you
back.
have the facilities for that, big man.
That's right. It's exactly what it says, Big Shack. I don't think you have the facilities for that, big man. So, look, if you want to drop your date off at the front door and work your way to the back and get these dishes done, by all means. And that's what's happening. Barcelona broke. Real Madrid not quite broke, but they're not walking on the thinnest margins that they need. That they're used to.
Nah, they're okay financially. Stupid, power hungry. Stupid.
And Juventus is broke. They're broke. They went all in trying to get the Champions League title. They failed miserably. Then they hired a guy for the Primavera. I don't care what his last name is. And then they said, nope, we're not going to do that. We're going to move you to the top. We're going to move you to the first team. And you know what? I'll say his name now. Pirlo is a smarter man than that. Pirlo let his ego get in the way of his mouth, and he said, oh, okay, cool, I'll take that gig. And he should have said, no, thanks, guys. I don't think we're quite ready to do that quite yet. And he should have been fired, but no, Agnelli has not. I'm not going to fire him because then that makes me look like I made poor choices. You made a ton of poor choices, my guy, and now you're paying for it, and you're a flipping moron, and I hope FIGC boots you bums from Serie A, demotes you down to Serie D, and makes you play your way back up. Play your way back up again from the time you paid off your referees to now because you clowns have been exposed for the bums you are. Bunch of zebra clowns, endangered species zebra clowns. I hope you end up next to the side of the wadi in the savannah, and the giant crocodile comes up and snatches you by the nose and drags you out in the middle of the wadi and does the spin and keeps you under there. That's what I hope happens, you bums. You tried to wreck the system, and the system came back and punched you square in the mouth is what happened.
Let's go live to Jarrett real quick. More thoughts, Jarrett? I'm kind of afraid of what just happened.
Pretty much covered my thoughts.
Not wrong.
It's what these teams have done in terms of like poor decision making at times is pretty damn astounding. I don't know if we give it enough credit for being like comically bad, man. Like the amount of money they throw around, the amount of bad decisions both on the field, on the touchline, behind the scenes that they just throw away is just like, imagine if you had competent leadership, what some of these teams could be. I mean, I guess you do kind of know, like you would be, you know,
what they used to be.
Bayern Munich. You'd be what Bayern Munich is sometimes, where you're just rolling through people. And even that wasn't perfect. Like Hansi Flick had to come in partway through a season because things were going wrong. So to be fair, I'm just blown away by like the decision-making process that goes on in not just the European game. Like let's not forget Major League Soccer. Let's not forget what Columbus is doing right now. Mm-hmm. And
oh, wait a minute, Jared.
Oh God.
Yeah, this probably needs to be mentioned. Perfect Tommy with the question. You think it's the same company behind all these rebrands and the Super League all at the same time?
It might be. I would like to know.
I think you hit it, Tommy.
Just saying.
So many bad decisions, so little time.
Bad decisions, FC.
I'm just saying.
That's where I'm at. So many bad decisions, so little time.
Oof.
I'm impressed by everyone and their bad decision making.
Oof.
I'm so tired.
No, it's a
so
grown adult
tired.
drinking. It's a grown adult drinking liquid Drano recreationally. And that's what it is. It's that level of stupidity.
Can we get into something good out of Italy?
Yes, let's go.
I think it's good. You'd have to tell me more about this club. Salernitana, promoted to Serie A for the first time in 23 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they out of a lot of Serie B teams that had the opportunity to move up, they have the stadium for it. They have the fan base for it. From what I understand, their ultras are a little wild, a little crazy.
Right. Yeah, this is a club I really don't know anything about.
So and guys, I'm going off the top of memory here. They were one of the clubs that during the fascist regime were condensed and then broke apart and then put back together again. And then about 15, 20 years ago, you had a whole run of these teams from southern Italy that had pushed their way in to Serie A, Catania included, and some of these other ones, and then in Palermo, obviously. This was during the better spending days, and Salernitana was one of them. And it's good for them. It proves that the system works. It proves that the pyramid can be, the one downside is that their owner owns two clubs, and so could be forced to sell one of them in 30 days. So that's something that's going to be interesting. He's not the only owner who has that situation. If Bari ever makes their way back up, Aurelio De Laurentiis is going to have to decide which club he wants to keep in. So it's going to be interesting. I would like to see American ownership come in and buy that club. I think they could probably get it at a good rate right now. And the one club that I think that this really doesn't help is Venezia, because Venezia has invested so much. And even if Venezia does make it, and I'm wearing the Venezia shirt right now, even if they do make it to Serie A, they don't have the stadium that Salernitana has. So financially being able to stay there is different than making it.
Yeah, 26,000 seats at the Arecchi Stadium in Salerno. This was a club that went bankrupt in 2005, was refounded summer of 2011, didn't appeal against the exclusion of, you'd have to explain this one to me. I guess it's like the league governing body, the Commissione de Vigilancia sulle Società di Calcio, blah, 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 blah. So they were excluded. And then they were reformed again in Serie D in 2011. And they've gotten to Serie A in 10 years. That's impressive.
That's very impressive. And here's why. Serie D and Serie C are not just like one linear ladder up. You have divisions, right? Like you have division A, B, C, D, E across Serie D. So it's not just a knife fight to get to mid-table. It's a knife fight to get to the top of your group, and then a knife fight to get into the playoffs, and then move up to the Serie C. And then Serie C is it's a knife fight in a telephone booth. And I'll give you an example. At Siracusa, they play on like a dirt pitch, like a dirt, like infield dirt.
Yes.
Right? On some of the clubs in Sicily, they play on that dirt. So there's nothing about this that's easy. There's no infrastructure at all. If you get the Ciao Italia, well, you used to be able to get the Ciao Italia app on Roku, they used to do like these bootleg calls of Serie D games where it's a guy in a booth at a stadium like this looking at the camera, and then he looks to the side. He's like, and he's like sitting there making the call, and it's like cinder block wall behind him, and there's like zero infrastructure around any of this at all. If you work your way from Serie D all the way up to Serie A in like 10 years, it's not water into wine, but it's probably Coke into Pepsi. I'll put it in that
Wait a minute, what?
Coke into Pepsi and finding your lost car keys. I think it's in
you
that.
saying Coke into Pepsi is a good thing?
Oh, sorry, Pepsi into Coke. Reverse that.
There, okay. I was about to
reverse that.
I was about
reverse
to leave.
That. I'm fired up still from the Juve mess.
I was about to leave. We got a question about Juve from Dawn. Dawn says, should Weston McKennie leave Juventus?
No. Look, Juve's not. Agnelli. Here's what Agnelli's going to do. Agnelli is going to moan. He's going to go to CAS along with the other two magic morons who are trying to push this stuff through. And then they're probably going to lose because UEFA has, it's their competition. They can set up the rules however they want. And UEFA squeezing FIGC. And so FIGC, the governing body in Italy, is going to be, they have the rights to say who can play in their, who's in compliance to play in the league and who's not. And if Juve's found to not be in compliance, they can boot them down. They can punish them and send them all the way down to Serie D if they want. It's up to them. Personally, from a money-making aspect, I'd probably just boot them down to Serie B for 2 years and let them think about their choices. But really what you're going to look at is you're going to look at a new manager almost certainly at the end of the year. You're going to look at certain amounts of leadership change. If I'm McKennie, I'm not trying to move in the summer window. Let me be very clear. I would wait to see who takes over at Juve. If it is Zinedine Zidane, which the only way he's doing that is if they are Champions League compliant and if they are in Serie A, then heck yeah, stay, man. Fight it out and keep your place. But let me tell you something. If they get booted down to Serie B, you have a choice. The choice is you can stay with Juve, and when you inevitably you get back to Serie A, you would be a hero in Turin. You would be a hero.
Yeah.
They would build a statue to you, just like they're going to do for Buffon, just like they are they're going to do for Del Piero and a couple of the other guys. And when he retired, he would have a lifetime gig with Juve if that happened. Or he could say, hey, look, I'm going to leave Juventus to go to another club. He would probably find that there would be a large number of suitors waiting on him, especially out of Germany. Mm-hmm. So if it's me and I'm Weston McKennie's agent, I'm going to say, let's wait to see how this goes to the winter window. If you get booted down to Serie B, you're going to take a pay hit. You can either stay and be a hero, or you can leave just so make some decent coin elsewhere. I think those are his options. But Juve's going to end up getting compliant. Agnelli, if he keeps being stupid, Exor, because they don't want a cost-losing piece of their portfolio, will remove him and put someone else in their place. Don't put that past John Elkann to do that. He will. Even if he has to take over himself, they will get compliant because it's about making money and keeping Juve. And remember, they're a publicly traded team. It's about keeping them up. The shareholders have a say-so in this.
Okay, we've got to have a follow-up on a story we had back in February of 2020.
Oh, God.
Wow.
Yeah. Musa Morega was racially abused in the Portuguese league February 16th, 2020, by Vitória fans. He scored 25 goals for them in one season. He moved to Porto. He was racially abused by the fans of Vitória. He responded, and I remember us talking about this, his response on Instagram to the racial abuse was, I'd like to just say to these idiots who come to the stadium just to make racist chants, go F yourselves. He didn't say F. He also went at the referees for not defending him and giving him a yellow card because he defended his skin color. He said the referees are a disgrace, hopes to never see them again, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so all that happened February of 2020. We've had a lot of things happen since then, so we forget about all of the idiot racist things that happen in football around the world. Well, the Portuguese Football Federation has finally come out with their punishment. Finally. 15 months later. And thank you to Zach Lowy on Twitter for sharing this. 3 games behind closed doors for Vitória. There's no fans in the stadiums, you morons! There's no fans right now.
Is there? Hold on. When is the punishment to take effect? That's a question.
Okay, maybe one because there's 2 home games left. It's immediate. So 2 home games left. Nothing. Maybe the one game next year to start the season, you don't have fans.
Wow.
Maybe. Moron, stupid idiots, get out of here, you nonsense numpty. The way it is written, it is immediate. Maybe they'll change it. Maybe the communications person who wrote it got it wrong. I would like to hope so. Even still, 3 games behind closed doors is... Come on, we need to do better than this. But 3 games behind closed doors in a season
when the doors are
when
already
fans
closed.
are not allowed. Yeah, you've got 2 home games left.
Hit him with the transfer ban.
Yeah, it's
ironclad
nonsense.
Transfer ban. That's what I want to start seeing more of. And to me, that's the biggest. That would be the greatest punishment to some of these Super League clubs. Like, great, you have a 3-year transfer ban. You can't bring anyone in new. You want to be a super club? Build from within.
It's unbelievable.
3-year transfer ban, or you can. It's either a 3-year transfer ban, or you miss on Champions League, and it's the same thing with situations like this. You got to hit them in the pocketbook because it's the only thing these idiots understand is money.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And this ain't hitting them in the wallet. I promise you that.
It is unbelievable how stupid some of these organizations are in dealing with this stuff.
Mm-hmm. Take their TV money. If it's the Portuguese league, you'd be like, you know what? You're not getting your TV money.
Really, really stupid.
We're going to donate your share of the TV money, whatever that may be, to local organizations that help teach education in this particular vertical. That's what you should do. The only thing these idiots understand is money.
Embarrassing.
That's it.
Let's go over to
France
for a second. The Get French Football News, which is a good follow to keep up with everything going on in France. PSG continuing to implode and not win the French league, which is very funny. I feel a little bad for Maurizio Pochettino, but he had to know what he was getting into.
I know.
Their center back, Presnel Kimpembe, after the 1-1 draw with Rennes yesterday that probably rules out PSG winning the title, he called the Rennes players a bunch of Fs in the tunnel, and he didn't say Fs, after the draw, according to L'Equipe, and he's likely to receive a 3-match ban following his red card.
And there's 2 matches left in the season.
Well, that'll carry over to next season.
Hey,
that's kind of how that works. Like, that's normal. This is not the same thing as the Portuguese Federation. Like, you get do something stupid at the end of the season. Yes, it will carry over. Ask Franco Escobar. He's suspended in MLS if he ever comes back. You know, I mean, that's just how it goes.
Right, but look, this is the textbook example of letting a loss affect you twice. Right, you're losing twice. 2 losses for the price of 1. I get that meltdown against City was amazing, shocking, terrible, whatever you want to call it. You know, that's you. There's no getting around it. That's the thing that you guys have to shake. And you're in a situation now where you went all in on trying to get to the Champions League final, fell short. And
what about your former manager? Where's he at?
Oh yeah. Oh, you mean the guy who's in the Champions League final?
Tommy Tuchel.
Tuchel for school.
Tommy Tuchel is in the Champions League final, and PSG has won 1 of their last 4 games in all competitions.
You know, look, I have no sympathy for Maurizio. I know that he's under the Argentine banner of protection, but I'm just saying that I don't care.
He is. You
made the choice to go to PSG. No one forced you to go there. Nobody forced you to deal with the Brat Squad, the Brat Pack. You made the choice to handle that. and they should have never gotten rid of Thiago Silva. I'm sorry, it never should have. Milan started going downhill when they got rid of Thiago Silva. When they shipped him off, and then what happened? He goes to PSG. They do pretty well. Now they ship him off to Chelsea. Where's he at? He's in the Champions League
he's
final.
right there with Tommy Tuchel.
He's there with Tommy Tuchel.
Oh, my
Good for
goodness.
him.
Question for you, Jarrett. This is from Will. If Maurizio Pochettino loses the league, which there's 2 games left, they're 3 points off of Lille. I mean, they're 3 points on the good side of actually being in the Champions League next year. Okay. If they lose the league and Poch gets fired, does he get fired first off? If he does, what's next for Maurizio Pochettino? And, as Will asks, does Ole Gunnar Solskjaer start saying naughty words because he's back over his shoulder?
Oh, my God. I don't need this in my life.
Ole needs to fight people if that happens.
Ole doesn't need this in his life. He's going to finish second in league. And he's only going to get outdone by a man.
But people are still going to say he needs to be fired.
Well,
he's going to finish second to a
there's a
Manchester
Europa
City
League
team
final
that's going to win a league title and possibly win the Champions League. And I don't know what Ole needs to do. Pochettino, man, if they go full Brazilian and blow him out after this, where does he go?
What about back to Tottenham?
Oh my God, are they that dumb?
He'd be better than pretty much everybody else that's been mentioned so far.
What about Celtic?
No, stop.
No, he's not going to Celtic. Come on now, let's not. Celtic,
Argentina.
Nah, he's not going to go manage in Argentina. He's not crazy. He's not. He's not a masochist.
If Gallardo actually got picked up and taken somewhere in Europe, man, put him in charge of River. Let's watch that.
Poach wants no part of that. He's smarter than that. He knows he wants no part of that life. Come on.
Who wants to be a part of Spurs? What are you going to win at Spurs?
Well,
how many different kinds of managers have they had there?
No, I'm not saying he should, but I'm saying if he's available, and you're talking about Scotty Parker, who got Fulham relegated, and I know Fulham had other issues. It's not all on Scotty Parker, but come on now. If that's who you're talking to, if you're talking to Potter, if you're talking to Nuno, like, is Pochettino better than those guys? Yeah. But you can't go back to him, but should you? Like, that's the thing that is so funny about where Tottenham is at this point. Katie Weaver wouldn't hate it.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, everybody needs a dream, right?
Spurs 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with Spurs is that
There's a lot of problems.
There's so many problems. It doesn't matter who's in charge there. It doesn't matter who's in charge. You are who you are. And that's the one time I've ever agreed with Chiellini on anything. When he says, the Tottenham is history. Like whenever Spurs crashed out, it's like still one of the greatest shade moments of all time in Champions League. When Nosferatu got up and ran his mouth saying that. But look, he needs to go back. He needs to go back to Spurs, or he needs to take over like Newcastle or something like that.
Oh, man.
I mean,
he waited so long. Like, he was that guy that was out there. He was the big fish, and he's linked to everything. And then he goes to PSG, and he does worse than the team did in Champions League last year. And, yes, it was a weird year with the neutral site and knockout and all that. But they got to the final. They lost in the semi this time around. Okay. They had some good in Champions League. I mean, it wasn't all bad for him, but still, they didn't get as far. And they might not win the league.
Right.
And now what? Where does he go? Like, if they move on, and they would be smart not to.
Right.
They would be smart to keep him and let him build and build the team in his image and all that. They would be smart to do that. We'll see if PSG is smart. They did fire Tommy Tuchel midseason, and he went to Chelsea, and now they're in the Champions League final, and just saying.
Well, look, it's the same thing with Allegri, right? I mean, Allegri's been out there Allegri was supposed to take over at Man United when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer inevitably failed. He didn't. He was going to take over He was going to take over Chelsea. He was going to take over. Gosh, what was the other ones?
Everybody.
He was gonna take?
Every single
if
team.
He had an opening. Yeah, PSG. He was even
Yep.
kicked around as the guy who's going to take
Madrid,
PSG.
Barcelona.
He was going to take
everybody.
over Roma. Yeah. If here's the thing, if Pavel Nedved, Juve's got to make a choice if they want him, because he and Pavel Nedved do not get along at all.
Is Juve going to fire Pirlo?
Yes.
I think so too. I think he's going.
Yeah,
Dead man
they're going
walking.
to wait to the end of the season, but they're going to do it.
Yeah.
And and if they don't fire Nedved and they fire Pirlo and they go to him, they go to Allegri and say, "Hey, look, man, come on back. We'll take it over. You have full control." And he says, "No." What then? Like, who's good enough for you then? Like, are you going to end up at Fiorentina? Are you going to end up like Spezia or Sassuolo? You going to go back to Sassuolo if De Zerbi leaves? Come on, man. What are you going to do? Stop it.
I'm just happy now I've got second division Argentine football on my television. So we're good. We're good. We've got Gimnasia, not Gimnasia, former Diego Maradona Gimnasia. There's like 20 Gimnasias in Argentina. They are playing Nueva Chicago.
There you go.
I don't know the story behind New Chicago in Argentina, but it's amazing.
Hey, go for it. I just look. Pochettino dug his own grave by going to PSG. You know exactly what you're getting there. You know who runs the show. They just re-signed Neymar for God knows how long. So, I mean, apparently there's secret clause.
Shenanigans.
I mean, you know what you're getting. There's certain clubs you know the dysfunction you're buying into. Like, I don't know why these guys keep doing it. Like, I know it's a profile thing, and I get it. Like, it's like, oh, I'm the manager of PSG. Like, okay. I'm already bald. Thanks.
I agree with Bernd and Gustavo on the Twitch pitch. That's a bad fit to begin with, because where Pochettino has done well was at Southampton and then at Tottenham at the beginning, where he built. And he was able to build a team and keep a team together and grow and have a system. And he's not a, locker room full of superstars guy who they don't want to do things. I mean, they didn't want to do things that Tuchel wanted to do. And Tuchel kind of dumbed it down and did pretty well with it. He got them to a Champions League final. But they didn't want to do that. They don't want to do what Pochettino wants to do. They want to do what they want to do. It's not the right fit. He needs to go to an up-and-coming club that is going to maybe invest money and let him build and have time. And there's a few of them out there. But he's got to pick this next one because, look, you go from Champions League final to whatever happened at the end of his run in Tottenham, which was awful.
Right.
To being on the sidelines for a long time, playing foot golf, going to the asados, enjoying yourself, all good, linked to every job in the world, and then going to PSG and failing. Not winning the league is a massive failure. So the next job for him is critical. It's absolutely critical.
Right. Look, I put... There are a few cities in the world where I don't think you're ever going to really see insane levels of success. I think Miami is one of them. Paris is another one. Monaco's a country, but people have asked, well, why can't Monaco ever get their act together? Because it's Monaco.
and you have a Russian oligarch who's the owner.
Like, guys, we're partying on the yacht tonight. Don't we have training tomorrow? Yeah, whatever. We're staying on the yacht till 5 a.m. It's Paris. Can you imagine the club scene in Paris? Get out of here. It's like the club scene in Miami. No. I dated a girl who's mate. It was ended up being like one of these club girls in Miami. She would always send her photos of what the club looked like. You wouldn't get me out. There would be no team training activities for me. I would be living in the clubs. They'd be charging me rent. Nick, champagne bills due. Yep, here you go. Bop, 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 bop. Just like the power bill. Yeah, 50 bottles of Moet. Yep, okay, there you go. Bop, 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 bop. You're never getting me out of there. It's the same thing with the clubs in Paris. They're out partying all the time. I mean, they come on. No, Maurizio, it's not a working class team, man. I'm sure there's working class areas of Paris, absolutely. But boy, howdy, that club ain't one of them.
So then let me put this to the floor.
Oh boy.
Right.
If Mikel Arteta gets blown out of Arsenal, do they chase after Pochettino if he's let go of PSG?
He won't take it.
They should.
No, he won't take it though. He won't do that out of respect for Spurs. It's the same thing he said about Barcelona and Espanyol. He won't do that. He is an honorable guy. He won't take that job. I wonder
There's a lot of honorable men with empty bank accounts too.
Yeah, but he'll have options. He's not desperate. He'll have options.
Right.
By the way, if you guys who like kits and like to buy kits, you might want to check in on these Ignacia Mendoza kits. They're like a gray that's a little interesting with fuchsia trim. They are very nice. I am a fan. And they're made by Miter, which is awesome because those were the first soccer cleats I had in the mid-'80s.
Oh,
my dad used to work at Genesco, and they sold Miter.
Miter.
Yeah, so I as a little kid, I was always decked out in Miter gear, like nonstop. All the soccer jerseys you wanted. If it was Miter, I had it.
I had the Miter, like their version of like the high-end cleats. Those were the first like good cleats I had. Miter Copa something or others.
To answer your question about Club Atlético Nueva Chicago, they're based in Mataderos, a neighborhood in the west side of Buenos Aires, and it was formerly called Nueva Chicago.
Oh, there you go.
They're 109 years old. They were started on July 1st of 1911, and their club nickname is El Torito, the Little Bull.
Yep.
It's an allusion to 1930s legendary boxer Justo Suarez, known as El Torito de Mataderos. So that's your Club Atlético Nueva Chicago update.
Katie Weaver asks, is it Miter or is it Mitre?
Miter.
I was always told Miter.
I've always heard Miter. Maybe in Argentina it's Mitre, though.
Yeah, it's true.
I've always heard
All
Miter.
I know is it what Dad always said is he goes, oh, it's Miter. I work for Miter, the company, the overall company. But yeah, I think somewhere, God, I wonder if I still have it. Buried somewhere is like the blueprint book of cleats, where it's just like drawing after drawing of like it's like cleat designs. I used to study that thing nonstop. Such a nerd.
Gustavo says that PSG today looks like the Crazy Horse Cabaret.
Not wrong.
I got something for you. I got a surprise.
Saying,
Man.
It's just not a match. It's not a cultural fit. He needs to go somewhere else. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, he would never go to another club, I think, in Ligue 1, but I just hope that maybe Mourinho implodes like a neutron star in the next year or so that way maybe Roma can call up Maurizio then. Get that deal done.
Man. There's so many crazy situations with this because who goes to Juve? Because I think there's going to be a change there.
Almost certainly, yes, there will be.
You know, there's always the chatter that Barcelona will move on from Koeman, which doesn't feel fair at this point, even though now nobody wants to win La Liga because they all keep blowing it. Yeah, I mean, that's going to be bad. PSG could be open if they feel the heat. I mean, if they don't qualify for Champions League, yeah, he's gone. There's no way around that. Arsenal could open up because of that chaos. Tottenham is open. I guess Newcastle's not going to be open, Alex Bassine, because Steve Bruce was a Manager of the Month candidate.
Sorry, Alex.
That's enough about the English game. West Brom could be open because Big Sam got him relegated. Never happened before. He's finally got him the team relegated.
Yep, and he's going to be meeting with the front office on Wednesday.
Big Sam ain't about that championship life. Come on now.
Nope.
They don't have good gravy in the championship. He's not going there.
No, the gravy's watered down in the championship.
Yeah, it's garbage. It's like made with powder.
It will be interesting to see what his sales pitch is to teams now. Because the one thing he could always say before is, I never got a team relegated. And now he's like, well, that one, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well,
You've got a bunch of situations in Germany with openings and possibilities that could happen with dominoes going down and down and down. So
yep.
it's that part's going to be as interesting as the player side this summer.
A couple of American managers in Bundesliga as well.
Mm-hmm.
So.
You will have Jesse Marsch there now. There's some rumblings that Burns guy Matarazzo could be heading to a different club. I don't know if it happens or not. It probably wouldn't be the best thing for his career, but if a fat check arrives, it's hard to say no.
Look at that. An Italian guy plying his trade.
Jersey guy, right?
Yeah, in German tactics. I love it. Yeah. Look at that. Go ahead, Matarazzo. Go ahead,
you would appreciate that. Danny DDT asks, if Guardiola wins the Champions League, does he leave for a return to Barcelona? Nah, he ain't about that life. Not now.
Man City has built a cult of personality around him. The only place if he leaves anywhere, it's to go on sabbatical.
Pep Guardiola will work in Major League Soccer at some point. Not anytime soon, I don't think, but he will work in New York City because he loves New York City. And I think he'll stay with the City Football Group and do that at some point.
Right. Yeah,
does he maybe at some point become an advisor like Johan Cruyff did at Barcelona? Yes, I could see that. When he is not working day to day, I could see that. I don't know if he goes back there to manage. I don't think it would be a smart move for him at this point.
No, he's
good.
He's built everything. He's done everything a manager could do with Barcelona.
Yeah.
I mean, tactically revolutionized the game, changed the way that people look at the game in general. Completely blew everyone's minds with one of the greatest, if not the greatest, club team to ever be assembled. Largely consisting of kids from their own academy. I mean, what are you going to do going back? What new ground is there for you to accomplish at Barcelona, other than being like a technical director and saying, okay, I'm coming in 3 days a week to teach you clowns how to play and coach and build an academy because you idiots forgot how to do it.
He would only go there if they really fell on hard times and it was to rebuild them.
Right.
I don't think they're at that point now. Danny, I think he'd have I think he's going to stay at City as long as he wants. And, I don't know if winning Champions League changes that timeline for him other than, maybe it accelerates him taking a break, maybe in a year or two. But I think he just signed a new deal, if I'm not mistaken, through 23, I want to say. Mm-hmm. I don't think he goes back to Barcelona. It's too risky when you do that because if you go back and you're not as good as you were the first time, it kind of ruins your legacy a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And what he did the first time is pretty hard to top.
Right.
I think it's too risky of a move, but who knows? My question is, does he win Champions League? Because Chelsea seems to have Manchester City and Pep Guardiola's number.
I think they do. I think they find a way.
Just they find a way?
Well, but also you look at the squad that went out in this last matchup against Chelsea, and you didn't have Foden starting, you didn't have Gundogan starting. I think John Stones was out because of a suspension after getting a red card. I don't think that you had first choice starting 11 that Pep would want in this situation. And
what about in the FA Cup semifinal? Did they have that?
I think they did.
Because Tuchel beat them there. I mean,
yeah.
I can't bet against Chelsea in that final.
Mm-mm.
I can't. City can win. They absolutely can. They're an incredible team. But I can't bet against Chelsea in that final. That would be my pick.
I'll go with Manchester City. It's hard to beat a team 3 times in 1 year.
There it is.
There we go. most impressive thing to me.
I don't know if City's going to let themselves lose this game, and I know that's a cliche, kind of almost an empty thing to say, but part of me feels like it's just they're so they can taste it. It's there. It's there for City. Like, glory that they haven't had before is there, and it's a familiar opponent. And there's almost something poetic about that for them, that, hey, we're going to have to go through somebody who we have struggled with, but who we see a lot. I was gassing
up. Oh, what's going on? We got something. What the heck?
Who crashed the party?
That's me being finding the button.
Oh,
Evil shenanigans.
Is that Matthew McConaughey that was going on there?
He's watching Matthew McConaughey movies.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. Office is very nice.
Look, Chelsea, I think the difference between then and now is I think Chelsea seems to be in a better place both physically and mentally. Timo Werner's finally scoring. He seems to have figured out how to put the ball at least more in the general direction of the net than he was previously. He's put the ball in the back of the net now. He's, that confidence, for a striker, confidence is critical. And, the first goal may be a thunderbolt, but then after that, it becomes a bit more of a routine, a bit more habit. Don't forget the fact that N'Golo Kante was in the middle of Ramadan, so he's fasting, and he's also not drinking water during the day. And so look at the performance that man put forward. This Chelsea squad to me feels like a bit of a team of destiny. And I know that that's crazy to say when we're talking about Russian oil money versus Middle Eastern oil money. And I get it. It's oil money all around. So there's no chicken littles in any of this. And there's no Rocky Balboa. However, I will say that I think that Chelsea just feels like a team that is putting it together at the right time. And as much as we've seen Man City just dominate in regular season, there have been plenty of times when they have essentially out-space programmed themselves in critical situations in a tournament format and just thought their way out of it. So they got the tactics wrong. Pep is human. So I'm going to have to say I feel like Chelsea, and I feel like Tuchel kind of looks into the camera and just is like, little eyebrows raised, and to all his buddies back at PSG, you could be here.
And also it wouldn't surprise me if Pep just outlawed Panenkas from this moment forward when it comes to penalty kicks either.
There's that. There's definitely that. These two managers met a bunch of times in Germany, and Pep always had the better. I mean, first off, it's Bayern versus Mainz when Tuchel was there. Pep should have the advantage there, being at Bayern. Beat Borussia Dortmund the first time he faced Tuchel when he was with Dortmund 5-1. Scoreless draw in 2016, and in another scoreless draw that Bayern won on penalties in the Cup final. Tuchel had never beaten Pep in Germany. Now Tuchel's got 2 wins over Pep in these last 2. Tuchel, I was trying to do the math and failing because there's a lot of games since he took over. He's lost twice and has had a number of draws, but it's a pretty unbelievable record since he took over. And I think they have that combination of being able to defend, which you need in a final, but also having a threat going the other way. And I think the kinds of teams that have given Pep's teams trouble are those. I think the teams that just sit back and defend, eventually get found out against Guardiola.
Right.
It's the teams that can actually play with you while defending very, very well that I think he's had the problems. Yeah, Gustavo, I know. It's not Tuchel versus Pep. I understand. Chelsea's players have been playing really, really well. And I know the idea Gustavo has that managers don't have an impact here, but I think Chelsea's the prime example of how managers can have an impact.
Yeah.
They're a completely different team. And, Lampard to Tuchel, we're talking about somebody with very little experience to somebody who's maybe one of the better coaches in the game. But that shows the effect it can have. And I think Chelsea's completely bought in. And I don't see that going away between now and the final. I think Chelsea can win this final. I think they do.
And people can get mad about Christian Pulisic coming off the bench, but it seems to be working for everyone involved, because I don't think the kid's legs can hold up to starting and going 60, 70, 80 minutes. So get him off the bench, let him be a Ferrari, and go max out for 20 or 30 minutes. And he's putting Chelsea constantly in dangerous positions when he's facilitating that role. So when you have that kind of buy-in, not just the buy-in of the starting 11, but the buy-in from the guys on the bench, like, hey, my role is to come in and do X in this particular situation. Okay, I'm going to do that. And then after I do that, I'm going to make it very difficult for this manager to make the same choice again later. But I'm all on board. Let's whatever it takes to get us across the line in this. It looks like Chelsea's there. So hard for me to.
All right. So remember when we've looked at the initial out of the blocks, right at the starting gun juice boxes for this one.
Yep.
Right now, and this isn't a surprise, the numbers have closed a little bit. Manchester City's at a plus 104. Your 90-minute draws at a plus 237. Chelsea, remember, was at plus 370. They're down to plus 292.
Still a really good number. That's still a really good number for a team that has been pretty ridiculous.
I would have jumped on it at that plus 370 without any question whatsoever.
Where does this final get played? Because it doesn't look like it's going to be Istanbul now. It should be at Wembley. It would make the most sense for that, although that doesn't seem to be a definite because the UK government doesn't want to break its quarantine rules for UEFA's party gang who's going to be coming over from the Europa League final in, I think, Gdansk. It's like, oh, no, you're actually going to have to quarantine. Oh, well, no, we shouldn't have to quarantine. Well, everybody does, so yes, you're going to have to.
And now it might be Porto again.
Yeah, because the UK government won't allow UEFA to say, yeah, these people can break your quarantine. And they shouldn't. The UK government should not do that. If these people want to go, then, yeah, do it the right way. Go and quarantine. So I think it ends up in Porto.
Yeah, it's like Porto and Lisbon was also mentioned, but I think it goes to Porto considering all the past events that have been there on short notice.
Well, no, I mean, it's already mentioned. So, I mean, that's the fallback is Porto. Like, it's just, that's where it's got to go. Because you can't go to Istanbul because then you're not going to have any fans from the two teams. If you go to Porto, you can.
Yes.
So, I mean, there's no point because Turkey is on I think it's the red list.
Yes.
The way they have it termed. So,
yes.
It wouldn't make sense for fans of these two teams to go to Turkey to watch the game there. If I'm Istanbul, I'm like, yeah, move it and give me another final here soon when I can have a full stadium and actually make money on the deal.
Right.
So, get it out of there and put it somewhere where fans can go. Wembley would make the most sense, but if UEFA's going to mandate that their people, and it's like sponsors and, staff and UEFA's like, I think it's 2,000 people. If they're going to say, like, no, these people have to be exempt from quarantine, the UK government should say no.
Yep.
For those in the United States who are vaccinated, Pfizer Club, just keep your eyes up on Scott's cheap flights because they recently had flights to Portugal for like $350 round trip.
Are you flying at like 2:30 in the morning on a Thursday?
Negative. Absolutely not. These are primetime flights within like normal flying hours. And if you are so willing to travel somewhere, like say Charlotte, have that be your destination or your departure point rather, then you may be flying to Europe for cheap. Just keep an eye out of that, because they cycle around. I think most recently they had $350 flights to Tokyo. If I'm not mistaken. For those Chelsea or Man City fans who wish to possibly go to Porto, should that be the destination choice for UEFA? Just keep those ears out. Scotch cheap flights.
All right.
Non-paid sponsor. Non-paid sponsor.
No, not at all. As a palate cleanser, before we get into picks of the week here coming up, I have a good video for you. You talked about Panenkas earlier, John.
Yes.
I have one that is even worse.
Oh, God.
It is even worse.
Did the goalie not move and just stand there and it go right into his arms?
It's bad, and it is from the Chilean second division. Thank you, Reddit. I should have played your theme song, Reddit, for this. But this is going to go up on the Twitch right about
Panenkas
now.
with Reddit.
And here you go. Chilean second division player Brian Taiva with an awfully executed Panenka. And let's take a look at that right now. He just dinked it to the goalkeeper.
Oh, that's so bad.
Dinked.
That's
Oops.
That's hideous.
That is really...
You're banned from taking penalties.
Really
forever.
embarrassing.
No more.
One more time. The goalkeeper's like,
Yep, I ain't moving. It's like, oh, okay. Short hop, and we're going.
Right in the breadbasket.
And quick outlet.
Oh, man. So bad.
That's awful. Yeah, the only one that I think would have been worse in a situation like that is if the goalie is just standing there. He doesn't even bend down to get the short hop. He just stands there and it hits him right in the chest for the easy grab.
Taking that Panenka life, it can come back to bite you. It can really come back to bite you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Since we missed a week, we didn't get to who won the last week of Picks of the Week. This is so funny because, first off, this is like celebrating... Let me think of the right one. This is Zack Ryder winning the Intercontinental title. And I think he lost it the next day, if I remember right. So John actually won for the first time ever, and Nick is trying to goad him into a very embarrassing promo because he's won one time of like 11. Have we done 11 now?
Yes.
Okay.
6-3-1-1.
Yes. So John has his first win. He gets to speak on it. Go ahead, John.
There's a particular number that gets into a man's brain.
0?
It's one more than that.
Okay.
And it talks about the power that is invested with that particular number. A lot of folks think it's the loneliest number that you'll ever do. I would beg to differ. Because all it takes is that one time. It takes that one opening. It's that one door that you get to open and you look and you see the sunshine and you see everything out there. All the birds are chirping and all the animals are sitting there and applauding and they're eating and they're having their picnic because of the power of one. It takes one win. It takes one pick and you get to do another pick and another pick. 1 times 6 and you end up being better than everybody else because of the power of what number, Nick? 1. The power of 1. And all that does is that leans you into the power of another 1.
Lean in.
And another 1.
Lean in.
And another 1.
Lean one more time.
Because you can't get to 2 or 3 or 4 without getting to that first number, the number 1. And when you get to that number 1, what does that mean? It means on this particular show that when you're number 1, you're at the top of the mountain. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you're at the top of the mountain for every single week going forward, but it gives you that opportunity to be there and get you that chance to go from 1 win, to get to that second win, to get to that third win, to get to the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th wins. But you can't get to those bigger numbers without getting the first one. And I got the first one, and now what does that mean? It means I can go and chase another one, and another one, and another one. Because of the power of one particular number, and that's the number one. And who's number one for this week and for the last couple of weeks? It's almost like the Open Cup revisited here on Soccer Over There, because the man's been the champ for a couple of weeks, and he's ready to keep going forward because of the power of the number one. Book it, Dano. There it is.
Hold on, where's my fire
Jason I think Jason just quit the program.
The fire.
Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
I award you points.
How many more is 6 than 1, by the way?
Mountain.
But I can't get to 6 if I don't get to 1.
Yeah, but you're making a really big deal about 1. Be humble, John. Be humble. Take your win and be very happy about it. Be happy.
Mountain.
But, man, that was a lot of nonsense being talked right there.
John Nelson. Mountain top. John Nelson.
Anyway, John gets 2 picks this week. Everybody else gets 1. John has a veto. Also, John, this is why your promo failed. You didn't thank your team of Burned and Gustavo and the Twitch pitch for feeding you information consistently in your picks.
That you vetoed and I couldn't use.
Wow.
And they kept feeding you other picks. Burned took credit for it in the Twitch pitch. I'm just saying.
Should.
But you didn't give him credit. You gave him no credit.
Burn's information and you vetoed
Burned,
it.
I hope you saw what just happened. I hope you saw it. Gustavo, I hope you saw what just happened.
Mr. McMahon, do you have anything else to add, Mr. McMahon, in your little diatribe here to John?
No, I'm just saying, I hope you know what happened right there, people who've been trying to help John out. He gave you no credit. None.
Wow. Mr. Vince McMahon
We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, run amok, and flat out deceived.
Got carried to a title by the people.
Show tries to come up with a narrative that is incorrect because he used the veto power, and I couldn't use my League 1 and League 2 games.
Tell Burned.
Spicy.
Burned says, no, we picked the River game, and Jason has to take the draw. No veto. Give those people some credit. You had a team behind you.
Burn, River.
He brought up the sheet. The list of Jericho.
Burned, River, right there.
Yeah, they helped you with that. That's the whole point. Give them some, say thank you. Be appreciative. That's all.
I had to resurrect it because of your veto, and I saved it. I saved River to the bitter end on that Sunday.
I'm not talking about any of that. Give your team a little credit. That's all.
Lexicon of Nelson. It's on there. The Lexicon of Nelson. He had it there. It's listed.
Give a little credit.
Burn
on the list
there.
this week.
Burn selection right here, pick 6, right there. And we had to figure out a way to do it to where we weren't doing the same thing as you in Game 6.
Yeah.
Game 6 was what we had it was, and so we had to end up picking differently than you just to get across the board.
But did you give them any credit for your whole operation here? Because you did have some help.
Here's the thing. Notice this. Notice that when John wins, instead of the team, the squad, over here exalting the win. Well done, John. I salute you for being the top of the mountain.
I would have until he didn't give his people credit.
Script. And instead, look at how Jason is trying to flip the entire message around to, look what you did wrong. Look what you did wrong.
Hey, Gustavo says soccer down here is full of ungrateful people. It's not news. Ha ha ha.
Wow.
You didn't thank Gustavo. You didn't thank Byrne. It's very disappointing.
Wow.
In Jason's mind, this is that moment where they lifted Randy Orton up on the shoulders, gave a thumbs up with Evolution.
Am I Triple H or Flair in this one?
And you're Batista with the thumbs down.
No, I'm not
Triple
Batista.
H gave a thumbs down.
Oh, that's
Batista
right. That's
was
true.
lifted up.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, you're Triple H with the thumbs down.
All right. I'll be
If you ever need
Triple H
someone
in
to pull a
this.
heel turn, it's got to be Triple H.
I'll be Triple H in this because
standard operating procedure.
Yeah, it's true, and he won a whole lot more than those other guys. So just saying. All right.
Well done, John. Well done.
No, good job. Good job. You had a team effort. It takes a village, doesn't it? Good job.
Wow. Jason over here. Jason has like 14 TVs. His mission control. You have to understand.
No, I put in my own work though. I put in my own work.
The minute that it was clear that John was going to win, Jason put on his Rocky 3 training montage. There's awkward video of him and Carl Weathers running onto the beach in tank tops, jumping up and down, cheering. That's happening. Whereas he has 14 division F Argentine soccer on right now.
Got lucky that River didn't get the draw. Got lucky.
The heel turn.
Turn. Gustavo says Burned and I are still puppeteers. Ha ha ha.
No doubt. Absolutely.
That's why I was saying give them some credit.
Doesn't matter.
It does.
John.
It does. We'll see.
Done.
We'll see. We'll
Flash
see
the
where.
List again, John.
We'll see how this goes.
Flash the list. The lexicon. Look at that. Look at that. That list is excellence all over it.
My camera is not big enough to hold up 6 sheets of paper. Sorry.
Look at that. Oh wow. Look at that. That's like some 1812 writing, but that's really classy.
It is.
7 years ago, I picked River.
Bitches.
Well done.
Jeez.
Yes!
Oh my God! What have I stumbled into? What have I? Is there a gas leak in here?
I don't know.
4 of our locations.
So, what were the point totals in the math? How did everybody do last time around?
You and I were both 3-3. I was at plus 330. You were at a plus 209.
Close. Okay. It's positive. I'll take it.
And then Jarrett was 1-5 with a minus 66, and Nick was 1-5 at a minus 382.
Woo!
That's not
awesome
good,
cash on that one.
That's not good.
That's
Man, it did come down to Bonfield beating River. I had the draw. Did you have Bonfield to win, John? Was that what it was?
I had River to win.
You had River to win. Okay, now we got it. If River had drawn, and I think it was a kind of late goal, if I remember right. So it came down to the wire. Good job. Very good. Let's move on to this week. You get 2 picks. You got a veto. Everybody else has got a pick. We have one consensus pick, and I don't know if there is an obvious consensus play this week. So we'll kind of have to feel that out as we go. Let's start with tomorrow's games.
National League, Stockport County hosting Dagenham and Redbridge.
Okay, jeez. Tell us about it.
What?
Yeah, go ahead. Whatever.
No, we're doing real teams, not...
No, we're doing National League. Everybody wants to talk about when I pick the Ecuadorian First Division. I don't pick the 5th league of somebody's beloved England. Stockport County and Dagenham and Redbridge.
Correct.
The standings in the table, Stockport is in 3rd. They are hosting tomorrow, 71 points. Dag and Red are in 11th on 55 points. In recent form, Dag and Red have won 5 in a row. Stockport's won 4 in a row. 7 of 10, okay. Stockport's won 4 in a row, and... let me see if I can tell you really fast how it's looked lately for them. Well, no, actually, they... Okay, just going the other way, sorry. 4 in a row, and they have not lost in their last 9. Stockport. What are the numbers on Stockport and Dagenham and Redbridge?
Stockport is minus 159. Your draw is a plus 278, and Dagenham and Redbridge a plus 401.
Who was in last place?
That would be Nick.
Okay, you go first, Nick.
I'll pick the draw.
Okay, Jarrett.
Dude, I don't know.
I know.
What the hell, man? I take the draw just because I don't. I don't know that you didn't take alphabet soup and fire it out of a gun against a wall to make these teams up.
I had a better chance of getting hit by the Chinese rocket crashing back to Earth than I do picking the winner in this one.
Hey,
so
where did that land, by the way?
The Maldives.
This is what y'all wanted.
Maldives.
This is what you wanted. You wanted National League round 31, Stockport County and
don't
Dagenham and Redbridge.
I'm
putting it on all of y'all.
On me.
I'm putting it on all of y'all.
What did I do?
No, I paid.
Help, John.
I paid for this
y'all
I
can,
wanted John to win.
out.
I ended up with that 4th place finish.
That's cool.
I'm thrilled with that exchange. Thrilled.
I can't claim anything. I finished 3rd most of the time on my own. I don't need to do anything special to do what I did last week.
No, you just wanted to, you wanted this to happen. So this is where we're at. We're picking the National League in England. So Jarrett, what are you picking?
He said the draw.
The draw. You're both picking the draw.
You didn't hear it over your pettiness.
Yes, you didn't. Because I don't want to pick the National League. I'm picking Stockport to win.
Okay. Then just to be contrarian, I'll go draw.
Contrarian, all 3 of you picked a draw.
Yeah,
that's not very contrary.
But it's contrarian to you.
Okay, everybody's out to get me. That's fine. That's completely fine. Trust me, it ain't nothing new in the world these days. It's all pretty typical, so that's cool. Y'all gang up and do your thing. Let's move on to Wednesday. Do you have another National League game you want to pick, John, or do you want to hold your other pick?
I'm holding my other one.
Okay. We've got Copa Libertadores. I mean, fine. Talk National League. Why don't we do National League down here and tell us all about Dagenham and Redbridge? Because yippee, it's really exciting.
I get Jeff Stelling on the show from Sky.
Oh my god!
He's part owner.
Garbage soccer in the 5th division in England. Yeah, that's what we want to talk about. Copa Libertadores on Wednesday. You've got Atletico Junior and River. You've got Argentinos Juniors and Universidad Católica. You've got Atlético Nacional and Nacional. Last time they played, it was like 4-4 madness. You have Liga MX playoffs, Toluca and Cruz Azul and Atlas and Puebla. You've got MLS with Toronto, Columbus, Miami and Montreal, Philly and New England, Houston and Sporting Kansas City, Minnesota and Vancouver, and San Jose and Seattle. Thought Jarrett might jump in on that one.
I want to claim Minnesota and Vancouver because I want to hear the numbers on that.
Okay. Minnesota and Vancouver. That's Jarrett's pick of the week.
That is just Desperation City, baby.
This is a really interesting one looking at it. Minnesota's 0-4. Vancouver's won 2 of 4, and they got a draw and a loss in the others. This is a very teasing set of numbers on Minnesota and Vancouver. What are they, John?
Minnesota minus 159, your draw a plus 309, Vancouver plus 405.
Ooh. Okay, well, Jarrett, you finished 3rd last week, so you picked this one. It's your pick, so.
Oh, man. You know what? I'm going to take the draw, and, it's going to be Vancouver coming from behind to draw, and Minnesota gets a step closer to complete immolation.
Give me Vancouver.
Okay.
John?
I'm not brave enough to do that, but...
No, I'm not brave enough to do that yet. I'll go draw.
Nick?
Give me the Vancouver. I said Vancouver. Did that not come through?
Yeah, no, we didn't
I'm not
hear you.
muted. Vancouver.
We didn't hear you.
All
Okay.
right.
There you go.
All right, 2 on Vancouver, 2 draws. Okay, Thursday. Manchester United and Liverpool. Aston Villa and Everton. Granada and Real Madrid. More Libertadores. Club Always Ready and Club Olimpia. Vélez and Liga de Quito. Peñarol and Corinthians.
It's way late now.
Pachuca.
Hot mic, Jared. Hot mic, Jared.
I know. I have a gremlin getting out of bed.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Pachuca and Club America in Liga MX playoffs. Santos and Monterrey. You got DC and Chicago and MLS. Manchester United Liverpool is kind of big.
Mm-hmm.
Is this maybe our consensus pick?
I think so.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that.
Yep.
Okay, so this is the makeup game. It is on a Thursday, and how did the schedule work out for these teams coming into it? So Manchester United plays 2 days before against Leicester tomorrow. Then they turn around and play on Thursday. Liverpool does not. They played on the 8th. Then they play Manchester United on the 13th. But then they play on the 16th against West Brom. Manchester United, I think, plays that weekend as well. So it's kind of really crappy all the way around. Mm-hmm. But it feels like it's a little bit harder for Manchester United playing 2 days after playing another good team.
Yeah. It's like play, regen, play.
Yeah, this is a weird one because of that to call.
Yeah.
Head-to-head with these two, Manchester United won the last time they played in the FA Cup 3-2. It was a draw before that, and it was a Liverpool win at home before that. This is at Old Trafford. What are the numbers?
Manchester United's a plus 215. Your draw is a 277, and Liverpool's a plus 119.
Liverpool.
Wait a minute, it's my pick actually first. Man, this is hard because for Manchester United, they're going to care more about this one than they will against Leicester, but does that lineup reflect it? Do they rest guys tomorrow?
Well, they're the favorite tomorrow, actually, at a plus 150.
Yeah, I don't care about being a favorite. I'm talking about would they rather ruin Liverpool's day?
Yeah,
and
they go first
guys.
Choice against Leicester or first choice against Liverpool.
Yeah, I think it's the latter. So I am going to go with Manchester United to win this one at home. John, your pick.
Draw.
Okay. Nick?
Liverpool.
Jarrett? That's a really tricky one.
Mm-hmm.
It is. I'll take Liverpool.
Scared money don't make money.
It's just something about it. Like, it's that race for fourth that just gets stupid to me.
We haven't heard a lot from the plucky upstart fans. I'm just pointing that out.
There's nothing to get plucky about right now for them.
I'm just saying, it's a little crazy. We haven't heard that much from them.
It is funny that now, because I was railing against the National League, I'm a first division snob while I'm watching the second division in Argentina in front of me over here. I'm watching Ignacio Mendoza and Nueva Chicago.
Jason.
Just saying. I don't like the lower divisions of England because it bores me to tears. All right, Friday. We've got...
Friday.
No, not that. We don't have that.
He's the winner. He can sing the Friday song if he wants to.
No, it's still awful. We've got USL Championship, Charleston and Charlotte, Red Bulls 2 and the Miami FC. Sorry, guys. Real Monarchs and LA Galaxy 2. We've got Newcastle and Manchester City. Man, Fridays are really tough right now because we're going back to the A-League with MacArthur and Melbourne Victory. We've got Colombian playoffs with Deportivo Cali and Deportes Tolima. Second division in Argentina. Second division in Spain. Not a good first division game in Portugal.
Doesn't John have a second pick here? Can't he go?
He does, you do, and I do. We have 3 picks left, and Nick, myself, and John have those picks, and John has a veto.
That is correct. Do I use the veto?
I see a juicy one on Saturday I'm holding out for.
So, like I did last time, I guess I will take one for the team here because nobody's going to pick anything from Friday because it's a very bad lineup. And I am not going to go with something completely obscure. I think we have to take Alex Bassine's Newcastle hosting Manchester City. Because there's some interesting numbers on this one, depending on where it goes.
That is true.
Very, very interesting. Newcastle is safe now. They've lost 1 of 5. They have 3 wins in that period of time. They actually have a better record over their last 5 than Manchester City, who have 3 wins and 2 losses. However, the Juicebox numbers do not reflect that better result in the last 5. What are they, John?
Newcastle's a plus 1037. Your draw's a plus 487. Manchester City a minus 357.
Ooh.
Veto.
Okay, you're going to veto it. That's fine. I didn't really care anyway. Yippee.
Wow.
So now you're going to make me pick something worse, or one of you guys are going to actually have to step up and do something, but you won't because you guys are holding out for other things.
I have 2 options on Saturday.
I know you're holding out for other things, so I will take the heat.
I already burned mine.
You did.
I've already done mine.
I know you're fine.
Don't.
I'm talking about those guys.
Me.
I'm talking about those guys. This is the havoc that you.
About me.
This is the havoc that you guys have brought. This is what has happened now. So we vetoed the good game to do. So now we're going to have to go to...
Are we going to make people watch USL Championship? Is that what's happening?
There's really nothing else. I mean, I'm not going to...
Battery versus Independence is not one worth watching?
I'm not going to pick a second division game somewhere or any of that because there's not even any of those that are all that great. So we'll go with Charleston and Charlotte. And there's no numbers on it because there's nothing good here, but that's fine. We'll go with Charleston and Charlotte. So you've got Charleston with a draw, and you've got Charlotte with a loss this season. You got Mike Anhauser versus Mike Jeffries as the managers. You go first, John.
Draw.
A draw for Charleston and Charlotte. Nick?
I will take Charleston. Big up Mike Lundy.
Okay, Jarrett? Yeah.
Yeah, this is tricky.
This is crap, is what it is. There's no way around it.
This is so delicious.
This is crap.
Oh, I'm loving it.
This sucks.
I love mess.
Yay. We could have actually gotten into Newcastle and Manchester City. Just remember that, Alex. That got vetoed. I tried to pick your team.
Sorry, Alex.
I tried to pick your team.
John, this is like...
Oh, my God. You know what? I am going to...
It's a crap game.
I'm going to actively pick against Charleston in the honor of our friend Ricardo Montoya.
I should, but Charleston wins because I don't think Charlotte's very good. So Charleston wins. That's your Friday game. So Saturday, Nick, what are you picking?
All right. I will say out of the 2 delicious matches in Serie A, I'm going to go with Juve and Inter.
Okay. Let's see. Recently, Juventus has... And yes. Inter is not speaking to the media these days. So I don't think Conte's giving a press conference since they won the title.
Didn't they ask the players to take a pay cut today?
They did that too.
Which is why it's extra messy.
Yeah, they did that too. Draw last time they played in Coppa Italia. Juventus won the first leg at Inter in Coppa Italia. In league play, Inter won in January in Milan. This is in Turin. Last time in Turin, it was a 2-0 win for Juventus in league play and a draw before that. What are the numbers?
Juve is a plus 133. Your draw is a plus 229, and Inter is a plus 223.
Okay, so we've recycled back through. Nick was in last time? Or was it Jarrett?
1, 2, 3, 4.
I was last.
Okay, then it's Nick's pick.
I am going to take the draw.
Okay. Jarrett?
I'm going to follow Nick and take the draw. Because I'm a coward. That's what cowards do.
Okay. Juve. Inter's bored. Juve. They need it more.
Also, I don't like either one of them. So
I don't either.
If I could have them both.
That's the correct answer.
Yeah.
That's the correct answer.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
So
I'm going Juve win.
I don't like either one, so I'm picking draw.
All right. Sunday. John, you got to pick it.
Dynamo Moscow and CSKA Moscow.
For those of you who complained about me picking weird games, just remember what you got. You got what you wished for.
For those of you with weak constitutions, you may want to leave the arena.
This is like Carl Pilkington making picks. It's amazing.
Are you going to inform the audience about the game you've picked, John, or
yes,
we're just going to have to figure that out?
I am.
You don't have to give away anything. If you want me to do it, I will. But
No.
Like, why are we excited about this game?
Your juice boxes, Dynamo's at home. They're a plus 208. Your draw's a plus 249. Ceska's a plus 131. This is a rivalry game with two teams in the middle of the table in the Russian Premier League. Ceska is above them by 3 points. They've only won 2 of their last 5. Ceska's at 50 points. Dynamo directly below them in the table at 47 points. Dynamo has only won 1 of their last 5. Recent form going backwards here. Dynamo's only won, like I said, once in their last 5. Ceska's won twice in their last 5, going back to 10. Dynamo has won 5 of their last 10. Ceska's won 4 of their last 10.
So both teams are not exactly doing well.
No, they're not doing well, but it's a rivalry game in the middle of the table that could determine positioning.
What do you do when it's a rivalry game?
Throw the records out.
Mm-hmm. Cisco won 3-1. Man, they haven't played in a while either. Back in October 18th. That was at Cisco. They won 3-1. Last time at Dynamo was a scoreless draw in June. Then you're going back to 2019, where Dynamo won on the road. And then the time before that, it was a 2-2 draw. So it's really even between them anyway in their last 4. Good.
Both teams still looking to get into something close to qualifying for European play. I think this is the last week of the regular season. So Ceska needs a win and some help to get into the Europa spots.
Or the conference spots, I guess, if are possible. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, so last game of the regular season, it is at Dynamo. They can't get into the spots, but they could prevent their rivals from doing it.
Yes.
All right. Is there anybody on these teams that's interesting? Not on Dynamo.
I know who I'm picking. You characters are wanting to pick.
Well, you got to go last. Jared actually picks first this time.
Oh, God.
Yeah, there's like
Okay.
nobody. Akinfeev, goalkeeper for Cisco. I've actually heard of him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Jarrett, you got to pick.
I'm going to go Cisco just because we know a player on that team.
That's
literally
where
it.
we're at, yeah.
That's where this begins and ends. Sir.
Yeah. Okay.
I love it.
I will go with a draw. John?
Let's see. Give me a second here. I've got to... I will go... You said draw?
I said yes. You
Okay.
pick opposite of what I pick? You don't
No,
just
because
pick
I'm
games?
writing it. I'm writing it
Okay,
down.
just making sure.
Yeah. No. I will go with Dynamo in this one.
Okay. Nick?
CSK.
Okay. All right. Thanks for the foray into the National League.
Now
and
that
the
we've
Russian
gotten that down
Premier
the
League.
way, Nick, what if John picked that because he knows something Black Helicopter, like the time we had to do a Russian game for Europa League?
I have my faith in the brutal underbelly of sports betting. I put that over John's pick. That's my faith in that one. Yeah. I mean, has there been any wild moves on the line as of late?
Let's see if there have been any wild movement of the line. No, but it has been removed from several juice box purveyors.
Oh, yes.
Did you know that going in?
No, I did not.
You didn't? So you just picked this out of pure joy?
I picked this out of a rivalry game for the last game of the regular season in the league.
Okay.
This is the soccer game equivalent of the Happy Happy Joy Joy song.
No.
Oh, it's amazing.
No.
And for this game to be pulled from some sports books, something's going on.
It's Russian
Man,
soccer.
Which one
of course
of them is
something's
closer
going
to
on.
Vladimir Putin? That's what I need to know.
Probably
Which one of
Seska. I think it's Seska.
Which one of the owners is better friends with Putin?
Well, I know that Putin didn't Putin skate with Seska Moscow in one of their preseason friendlies or something?
It's a wrap. Give me Seska all day. All day. We've already made our picks. Picks are in. Picks are in.
Yeah, they're in.
Yeah. So there you go. There's the picks. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Burned.
Everything I thought it was going to be.
Burned. What?
Everything.
Just remember, Burned. When I did have some information, I immediately shared it with everybody after I made my pick. But yes, I didn't tell you that I didn't have information. If that's the case.
Wow, this is so spectacular. It is like when you get exactly what you want on Christmas. That's what this has been. From the promo to now, it's everything I thought it could be. Like 4th Division English League.
Fifth, actually, Nick. It's Russia. Fifth. It's the fifth. It's not even the fourth. It's not even in the football league. It's the National League. It's the conference. It's the fifth.
It's better. It's
it's
English pub
so
league. I love it. All the way to now, we're seeing we're into sketchy. Question. It's everything, John. I thank you. This is theater at its best. This is up there with Hamlet, Othello. It's there.
Mm-hmm.
It's more of 10 Things I Hate About You than actual, which 10 Things I Hate About You being the best modern rendition of Shakespeare ever made.
It's a Muppets Shakespeare show. Let's not even lie here.
Yeah, it is Muppets. Richard Burton.
It's the Muppets.
It's Richard Burton and King Lear is what it is. This is amazing. It's that level of art.
It's the Muppets. It's bad. Okay. I hope you guys enjoy it. Have fun.
Oh, yeah, thoroughly. Can't wait.
That's fine.
Can't wait.
This is Romeo Must Die. Kelsey says. Man.
Jesus.
Not Romeo and Juliet, but Romeo Must Die. Thank you, Kelsey.
Yeah. All right. Was there anything else you guys want to talk about? What?
When Jet Li did the mid air flip and he kicked that cat on the head and you saw the entire spine compress in the X-ray form. That was like Mortal Kombat before Mortal Kombat. It was amazing.
Well, let me explain something to you 3 cartoon characters.
It's not even worth it.
It's a very watchable movie. Jet Li was awesome in that. It also
Jet Li's awesome in everything.
But it was the most unlikely romantic pairing of all time because that's when Jet Li was not doing a lot of English-speaking roles. So anything English-speaking, he was wooden as hell. But when the fight scenes came on, man, Jet Li was killing it. Delroy Lindo was in that movie. Jet Li was in it. Delroy Lindo, Aaliyah, DMX.
I remember Aaliyah and DMX in it. I remember the soundtrack more than the movie.
I mean, that was a star-studded cast. I will not take Romeo Must Die slander in this forum.
I feel like if you're going to use the term, and I carefully use it because I don't want it to be misused by John. When you describe something as "it slaps," this is the time to use it. I want to make sure we contextualize this appropriately for John.
Yes.
Just want to make sure this is contextualized for John appropriately.
Anthony Edwards. Oh, it's a mess.
What am I watching?
Oh my God, it's a mess.
You have a line.
Is this an aha video?
Line.
Mondays with Reddit. You win a week and you don't even hit your lines anymore. I see how it is.
Full of cookie.
You win a week and you just skip everything. All right. So it was mentioned earlier by Jarrett about Marcelo Gallardo and possibly going places. There is now reported interest from Lyon in Marcelo Gallardo, but according to Marca in Argentina, there is no contact yet with Marcelo Gallardo. If you were El Muñeco, would you go to Lyon, Nick?
No. Not going to Lyon. Come on. Gallardo could do better. He can do better than Lyon.
He played in France, though.
I don't care. You can do better than that.
Lyon might be in the Champions League next year.
No, they're going to be in Europa. It's top two, isn't it?
Top
two
three. Top three. They are 1 point out of third and 3 points out of second. And there are 2 games left.
If Lyon makes Champions League and they fire their manager, that's not a club I want to manage anyway.
Oh, they might be broke. I can't remember. No, they're not broke. They're okay. They've got what's his name? Aulas.
I mean, seriously.
Marseille's the one that we're...
Well, Lille's the one that's really in the bad shape.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, if Lyon makes Champions League and they fire their manager, I mean, in Lyon, is that a team you really want to manage?
Man, I can't remember Lyon's managerial situation. I wonder if he will get a better opportunity. You get Champions League, that's a tough one to say no to.
I understand. Again, I understand if he takes it. I wouldn't, but I understand if he does.
Katie trying to sway you. Lyon is lovely and has great food. You appreciate these things.
I am sure it's amazing. I have nothing against the city itself. I just think that if Gallardo, that there may be some places opening up.
I just wonder who's going to come in for him. I feel like people should, but I don't know if they will.
Right.
That's the thing. I mean, if PSG fires Pochettino, I don't think they do it, though. I think they go after somebody bigger, even though it would be a good hire.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd want to go to PSG. I think I'd rather go to Lyon than PSG. If you have a little bit more patience, a little bit more time to build. I don't know. That's an interesting one. His name's starting to get bandied around a little bit more.
Right. Well, let's look at La Liga, right? I mean, if there's turnover in La Liga,
wasn't he linked to the Roma job? And he wasn't going to leave before his contract at River was up. That's what he told Roma, and then they hired Jose.
Right. Yeah.
That's what was reported. Now
that's what's reported.
That could have been smoke, but that's what was reported.
I don't think it was. I think that they tried to get Sarri, and for whatever reason, Maurizio Sarri said, "You're not. The cigarette allowance isn't enough, or whatever."
Where's he going to end up?
I honestly have no idea.
Tottenham.
At this point, I have no idea. But
let's do it.
If you can see what Juve is now, compared to the fact that he won the Scudetto with pretty much the same squad. I mean, don't tell me he's a trash manager.
Tottenham, do it. Yeah. Do it.
I don't think he wants to leave Italy.
Yeah, maybe not.
Make that part of London look like the Industrial Revolution again with all that smoke.
Yes. Do it.
Giving 10-year-olds black lung all over.
Yeah, it looked like the late 19th century.
People are
Mary Poppins.
People are begging for Miguel Herrera to go to Europe in one of these jobs. It's not happening.
Oh, my God. Miguel Herrera in Paris would just be so beautiful.
He'd be in jail in 3 weeks.
Or a week.
Amazing. Give that much time.
He would fight somebody. He'd probably get away with it the first time. Then he'd fight somebody else.
He'd fight somebody in jail.
He might fight a player. He might fight his own team. Who knows? I don't know about that one.
He'd get to the tarmac at the airport. Macron would be there to shake his hand, and then they'd go swinging.
Jeez. Also in managerial news, Ariel Holan, who was at Independiente, then was at Universidad Católica, then was at Santos for a minute, allegedly going to León now in Mexico.
I would like to amend. I'd like to call an amendment to the floor.
Uh-oh.
After
Seconded.
after
do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
That's right. On further review, I would take the Leon gig.
What changed your mind?
I was going through and cycling through some of the teams that would have an opportunity to be in Champions League. Napoli's one that would have a managerial opening, theoretically. England,
now, hold on. Let's go back to that real fast because Gattuso's been linked to like every job imaginable, including staying at Napoli. He's been linked to Juve. I don't know if there's anything to. No, I don't see that one, but he's been linked to it. He's been linked to Fiorentina, maybe the most here lately.
Right.
And that would only come if he told De Laurentiis off and left, I would think. I mean, they'd be crazy to fire him at Napoli at this point, right?
De Laurentiis.
He is crazy, so yeah.
Yeah, he could absolutely do it.
Where do you think
say that would be the job that would most intrigue me if I were Gallardo.
But for that crazy lunatic owner?
That'd be the perfect fit.
There's a
no, Gallardo's not crazy. No,
but there's.
I don't think he would take that.
Where he would be, I think, revered if he went.
I totally agree with that. It would, like, on paper, it sounds great, but I don't think he takes that job.
And real life are two different things.
Yeah, right? He's not going to work for that crazy lunatic who would potentially see Napoli get into the Champions League and fire Gattuso.
Yeah.
And they've played well under Gattuso. No, that'd be nuts. I'd go to Lyon before I'd go to Napoli.
Right, which is what I was saying. That's why I upon further review, so I'm going to say that Napoli's probably the one in the top four. And I think if Milan fires Pioli, they're going to get Rangnick and they're going to finish what they started.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then no one's changing hands in the top four of the Premier League.
Mm-mm.
Then you have Ligue. Lyon's right there.
Unless Brendan Rodgers does get stupid and goes to Tottenham or to Arsenal. Well, okay, here's your other...
I'm choosing to believe that he won't do that.
Well, here's your other teasing question. If Brendan Rodgers blows it and they don't get into the Champions League, does he get asked to do that?
He will never be asked to leave Leicester City.
He might blow it and get them knocked out of the Champions League. He's trying really hard.
He may choose to leave, but they're not going to ask him to leave.
I don't know. Collapsed last year too.
If we go to La Liga, I think Simeone, I think, is still safe at Atletico as long as he wants to be.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Zidane might leave Real Madrid.
And he might go to Juve.
Yeah. And he might go to Juve, but a lot depends on what's happening with Juve.
Yeah.
So if Juve, let's say, gets relegated, possible.
That adds the whole nother wrinkle into it.
If that happens... then he'll stay at Real Madrid, so we'll say that's closed for the moment. Barcelona can't figure out what the hell they want to do. They should keep Koeman, but I mean,
if they don't, they'll go hire Xavi. Like I think they've got their pathway sorted out.
Yeah. Right. So Barcelona's off the table. That leaves Sevilla. I mean, if Sevilla is in the Champions League, I don't think they're
not going
any turnover. So
definitely
Lyon,
not.
And I'm not going to Fenerbahce, and I'm not going. I'm sorry, I'm not. No.
And Gallardo's not going to Germany either.
Right. Yeah. And so I think that Lyon makes the best sense. So again, on my VAR apparently very effective. I'm going to say that we're taking Lyon.
It's not a bad spot, and it's probably the best of what could be available for him. So I don't hate that position, but they have not reached out yet, according to reports. But he is being linked, or there is reported interest from Lyon.
Well, that's really stupid if they haven't.
You know how these things go. There could be talks behind the scenes, but not actually contact with Gallardo himself. They might be talking to an agent. The thing that he's going to have to decide is, does he leave now, or does he leave in the summer to go to Lyon? Because they're not going to wait for him. They're not going to wait for him until the end of the calendar year, which is what his contract is at River. Right. River, by the way, is getting ready for a playoff match with Boca Juniors in the Copa de la Liga, which is always fun.
Right. I get that the calendar's different. He's going to have to make a business decision whether or not he's going to go to the end of the European, like essentially what's the
that was the
summertime
excuse with Roma, was that he wouldn't, and maybe he used that as an excuse. We don't know.
Right, but at the same time, if you are looking for a European club to jump into that has potential, Roma's it right now. I mean, it's the one where you can come in. There's probably the least amount of expectations. You have a billionaire owner, and I would be shocked if that was the case. But if he's really holding on to the end of the calendar year, you're going to take over for a guy who gets fired,
or you're going to wait till the next summer, which is what
you're going to wait till the next summer, and then you're Pochettino and Allegri. So good luck. I mean,
yeah,
I don't know. I can dig it though. Whatever. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting to see. But I think in this situation, Juve is the linchpin of the whole. It's going to start the carousel. I think because Juve's one of the higher profile jobs, and unless they get relegated, if they get relegated, then they're just they'll bring in some circus performer to be the manager for their Serie B season.
Right.
By the way, it looks like Sunday I've seen 4:00 and I've seen 4:30 for Boca hosting River in a one-game playoff in the quarterfinals in the Copa de la Liga. Woo. Yeah, at La Bombonera again. I feel like the last 5-10 times these teams have played, it's been at La Bombonera. But
are they allowing fans back in now? Or
no, they're not. Your playoffs, Saturday, you've got Colón hosting Talleres and Estudiantes hosting Independiente. Gustavo's very happy about his Independiente side. Sunday, Vélez hosting Racing and Boca hosting River. And it's single games. These are the quarterfinals, semifinals to follow, a final in the Copa de la Liga.
All right.
Good times. Anything we've missed, Jarrett?
I don't think so. God, I think we got most of it. Everything's dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Everything stays dumb.
Mm-hmm.
The Discord has turned into basically the explain it like I'm 5 for the SDH universe.
Bull.
Welcoming people in. We got to build a wiki for this. We got to build an SDH wiki. It's going to be weird though.
Mm-hmm. Since I missed the finale takeaway of the salt variety, I will say that I'm not worried about the team. I think they need to Atlanta United. I think that there are still some defensive lapses. The megging issue on the back line, my God in heaven, that has to get cleaned up. That just seems that if you put the ball laterally through the 18, it's going to go through at least 2 or 3 defenders' legs before it finds a potential goal scorer, and that terrifies me to no end. Outside of that, I'm not worried about any of it. Joseph scored, huge for his confidence. I'm not worried about anything until June or July. Until then, I'm not worried about any of it.
So the double international break is when you're going to look at things.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable expectations.
Speaking
I'm not
of,
worried at all, though.
Miles Robinson is on the preliminary Nations League roster.
Yeah, 40, and I think they cut it down to 23. Is that correct?
Yeah, well,
we'll dig deeper into that tomorrow. A few surprises in it. I don't know if Miles being on that's a surprise, but we'll dig deeper into that in the morning for sure. So,
if you're a Soccer in the Streets team member or team captain, and you are looking for a potential wingback and or defender, you let me know because I am currently teamless at the moment
for the Champions League coming up.
I
don't know if there's a Juventus team. What if they came calling, Nick?
A Juventus team?
Yeah.
My phone doesn't get reception there.
That's what I thought.
I was wondering how much Nick is for sale for, but
Juve, there's not enough.
There's not enough.
He's not wearing a shirt with a Juventus logo on it.
No, I'm not.
I would take a lot of pictures if that happened, though.
Oh yeah.
No
pictures. We have video.
That too.
I would get a GIF made of that. I would get a picture and put it on like a giant canvas and mail a copy to Nick's house.
I'd bring one of those like caricature like painters out to paint something
like Bob
for
Hoss
Nick
to do it.
Yeah.
No,
that might be difficult. But Yeah.
No, not happening. And if I were to show up and they'd be like, Nick, we're wearing Juve kits. Oh, my quad. Can't go today, guys. Can't go today. I'm sorry. No, not happening.
Okay.
Not happening.
Okay.
No.
Let's see who comes
if
calling.
Gavino's listening, I'm sorry, Gavino. I still love you, bro.
It's going to be Juventus. It's going to be amazing. John, anything else before we go?
Real quick. Remember the madness, Jarrett? Do you remember the madness from the end of the Sky Bet Championship season that we were looking
it was
at?
a lot of fun
With Derby and Rotherham and Sheffield Wednesday and John Harkes watching the match with Derby County and Wickham and those four. Right now, there's a possibility that Wickham could take the EFL to court over the lack of a decision so far when it comes to Derby County and their breaches of FFP. And if Wickham were to win the case and Derby were to be penalized points, then Wickham would stay up, Derby would go down. So we're looking at that possibly as heading to court for the end of the championship season. So the championship may not be over.
Does Derby have ownership at this point?
They do, but the guy's trying to sell to that self-proclaimed successful boxer who does TikTok videos.
What? Explain, please.
Mel Morris is trying to sell Derby County, and there has been a sale agreed to in principle. And I'm trying to get
to a TikTok boxer.
It was back in early April. Spanish businessman Eric Alonso, and so Alonso had a short period working as an advisor to Sheffield Wednesday, but when you look back at Alonso, he kind of professes himself to be more of a successful boxer and a guy who likes to make TikTok videos. So that's the guy right now who would like to buy Derby County.
What?
There are a group of kids that my son watches on YouTube who started off at these Twin Toys Army, these two little twins, and their dad would get in Nerf gun wars. And then that got a little stale, so they started putting storylines to it. And those kids are multimillionaires now. That's no joke. And then there are some other kids who they play video games, like they play like Minecraft with their dad in front of a green screen. And they're multimillionaires now. Like you saw the house go from like this like little like single room ranch to like now it's like this monstrosity in North Carolina. They're making a killing. So if some dude has made a wall of cash on TikTok and they want to buy a team, brother, have at it, and then send the instructions to me so that way I can replicate that. So I can...
What's the holdup with this?
I think that it is the takeover of the club was agreed in April, but yet to be confirmed. Wayne Rooney wants clarity over the ownership situation before going forward. Yet to be formally completed, according to the BBC.
Okay. That's complicated. That's weird.
Yeah.
But stay off Lake Lanier until further notice.
It's haunted.
Stay off of Lake Lanier. Please God, keep Joseph away from Lake Lanier at all costs.
That's a given.
That's a universal thing, man.
Mm-hmm.
Well, apparently Joseph has not received the message, so we need to like build like a giant card that says, "Joseph, we love you. Stay off Lake Lanier. Damn it, don't you go near that place."
He wasn't at Lake Lanier last year, early in the year before the Nashville game at any point, was he?
Don't know.
He didn't get cursed.
I'm just saying.
I don't trust Lake Lanier. I think they could even be spreading the damage outside of the lake.
Lake Lanier is the epitome of a cursed lake.
Yeah.
We were all on
board. It is.
By now.
Yeah, but I think their violence.
I
think their violence spreads beyond just things that happen at the lake. That's what I'm afraid of.
Okay, fair enough.
I was one step below rescue swimmer. I was one step below rescue swimmer in the Marines. I'm
taking Nick to the lake next time I go out.
Fantastic swimmer. Fantastic. One thing I'm absolutely egotistical about. I can swim. The one place I've
The
ever
one
had
thing?
trouble swimming, Lake Lanier. The one place I've ever had trouble swimming, Lake Lanier. No, sir. Nope. Mm-mm.
See, I used to swim out, in the lake all the time. We also used to jump off the. We just also used to jump off the cliff faces.
Oh,
That was a lot of fun, actually. Cowards.
Wow.
yeah.
Nope.
Well, there were members of the family who didn't want to do it.
Nope.
Okay.
We slandered them accordingly.
No, you could tell me the Swedish bikini team and $1 million were waiting for me up at Lake Lanier. I'd tell you to go kick rocks. I'm not going near that place.
Nope.
No, nowhere near it.
Nope.
All right. I think that'll do it for us before we find more shenanigans to get into. We will be back for the show tomorrow morning, and we'll get into that U.S. roster with a little more detail. We'll get into MLS with Dylan Butler of MLSsoccer.com. We will look at a lot of different things in the soccer world. We will also talk about a new segment on Tuesdays, Top Tier Tuesday.
Ooh.
That's a tease. You'll just have to come back and find out.
Cool.
We will be getting into that tomorrow on the show. If you missed El Chiringuito last week, you missed this wonderful clip.
Esto es el fútbol. Ama el fútbol. Ama al fútbol.
That's how we all feel about
That's
it.
awesome.
Yes. I'm out of football, but maybe not with as much scary music in the background.
We need more of that.
More scary music?
We need like the guy that did the Law and Order music to do those kinds of things.
We need
Who wants
music
to be a
beds.
millionaire think music.
You want music beds for things now?
I'm just saying.
So when John gives his promo, there needs to be a music bed underneath it?
Yep, pretty much.
When you go on a rant, you need a music bed?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, make sure that's cleared music, Nick. I don't want to get us in trouble here.
That's my own. Look, man, it's the core gap.
All right. Okay. Maybe that'll happen. We might need to get Mateo up on that. We'll see if he can pull it off. But we'll be back in the morning. Send us home, Nick.
Mucha Euro, y'all.